This is the first assignment for Scratch programming for class. This assignment is going to ask you to create an aquarium scene that is animated. Um, you need to have a stage or a background, excuse me, that signifies underwater of some kind. It can't be, out on a baseball field or something like that. You need 5 different sprites. Those are your characters. You get 1 point per sprite. You need to use 2 costumes for at least 2 of your sprites. In other words, they need to change, and we will talk about that. The sprites need to move at different speeds. They need to move at different angles. And then finally, you need to add a sound effect of bubbles to the background. So let's go ahead and get started. In Scratch, you're going to have clicked Create so that you are in our page here that we do our coding in. Now, we don't want our little cat guy. He's a sprite. He's basically one of the characters that we can use to animate. Any moving item or any item that we can code other than the background is called a sprite. So we're going to delete this guy. We're going to come down. Let's delete him. Okay. Now, over here on this side are where we can do all of our coding. We're going to be using different blocks to tell the animation what to do. We can use different backdrops, okay? And we can do that by finding a backdrop, or we can make it a color. That's also called the stage. We can choose a backdrop. And then we also have a sound one, for example, pop. Yep, so just like it sounds. We can also find other sounds and add those. Because down here, a second here, my recording thing is in the way. If I click on here, I can add a sound, but I need to be able to get at it. There we go, choose a sound. I can do a search, and I'm search, for example, for bubbles. Okay, I can find the bubbles, and then I can play it. It sounds like, you're in an aquarium. So let's start with the stage. We're going to come down to the corner here and click on the stage. We're going to choose a backdrop. So we're going to go with search. And up here, you can filter what you want. Since we're going to be doing an aquarium and the requirement is that it's underwater, we are going to click underwater. Okay. There are 2 underwater backdrops. I like the more cartoony one, so I'm going to click underwater 1. That's going to set our backdrop. Now, if we go to our instructions, we need to add the bubble sound effect to the backdrop, to the background. So let's go ahead and do that first. We're going to do that in the backdrop. And let's see, let's pull out our code. And since we don't have a sprite right now, we are coding for the backdrop. If I had a sprite out, then the code that would be in here is for the sprite. And you can tell by this little icon up in the corner of where we're going to put our code, what we are coding for. So the control group here and events, there's some of the ones that we're going to use quite a bit. And when events happens, I'm going to pull this one out. It says when green flag clicked. That's the green flag. It means go. It means I'm going to start my code. Now, I don't have anything attached to it. So I know that I want to play a sound when green flag is clicked. So I'm going to pull out play bubbles until done. If I click the green flag, you can hear the bubbles. Now, one problem that you can run into is you notice it just stopped. Okay. I want this to go on and on forever. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be going to control, and I'm going to pull out what's called a loop. And I'm going to put this in here so that the bubbles are in. And it says when clicked, forever play the sound bubbles. So until I go and stop the program, it's going to play the sound bubbles. Perfect. Okay, so we've got some of the things checked off. We have our backdrop, we have our sound bubbles. That's 10 points. Now let's look at sprites and what we can do with sprites. Now I'm going to choose a sprite, and I'm going to go ahead and go with animals because we've got under the sea, ocean here. And I'm going to go with, let's look at some fish here. Okay, I'm going to put a fish out here. Now this fish can move and do other things with it. And also remember, I'm programming for the fish because I can see that up in the upper window here. If I happen to bring out, say, another fish or maybe the crab, okay, I know I'm programming for the crab because I can see that up in the corner. And I can select between my sprites down below here, okay? And I know which one I'm programming for because I can see its little image up in the corner here. Remember, you must have 5 sprites. So you will have 5 of these guys going. But let's actually delete the crab and get rid of him so we can just concentrate on the fish. Now, I want him to move back and forth like he's swimming. So again, I'm going to go with when the green flag is clicked because that starts my program. And I'm going to go with some motion. So I'd like him to move 10 steps. Okay, so if I click play, he moves 10 steps, which is not very far, and then he stops. Let's try it. Let's make it move 100. Oh, well, let's stop too. The bubbles were kept going here. Okay, ready. Now he jumps 100 steps. Now that's all well and good. However, he's just jumping across here and then he stops. So again, we're going to need to use some control here, and we're going to repeat forever. But let's have him move a shorter distance, like 5 steps. So he's going to move 5 steps, 5 steps, 5 steps, and then he's going to do something like, oh, look, he disappeared. Well, to start, let's drag him back out by his tail. It doesn't hurt him. And I had the run button going, so that's why he kept going. Now, we're going to click the run button. Now he looks more like he's swimming. But here's a problem. He just went off the screen. That's not going to be a good thing because we want this to be an aquarium. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull him back where we want him. Okay. And we're going to go with the motion here. And we're going to look at, where is it here? If on edge, bounce. Okay. So now when this guy hits an edge, he's going to bounce. He bounced really good, except he kind of flipped upside down, which really isn't going to help. So we're going to now set a rotation style for him. And we have it set to left, right, which means now he looks like he's swimming back and forth. I can do it don't rotate. That just makes him go backwards. Or I can go all around, which means he's going to flip upside down. So left, right. All right, now we have one sprite in. He's swimming in a certain direction, and he's bouncing off the wall. Now, each one of your sprites needs to go in a different direction. And one thing you can do is you can change this direction down here. And I want to say, well, I'm going to stop him here. Stop moving, bud. I'm going to just do a random angle, okay? I'm going to say he's going to go 133 degrees. Okay, now if I click play, he's going to swim at 133 degrees, and he's going to bounce when he hits the wall. Each one of your sprites must go at a different speed and a different direction. So say I wanted the next sprite, if I wanted him to go faster, I can increase the number of steps he moves. Maybe I want to go 50. And then here, maybe I want to change to, let's say, 9 degrees. Okay, now he's swimming a heck of a lot faster. So that's how you change the speed and how you change the direction he's going. All right, last but not least, for your aquarium, it's asked you to change the costumes. And when you get change the costumes, you come over here to the costume tab. And it looks like this fish can change into different fish, which is kind of cool. So he can change who he is no matter where he goes. Now you can also change him. So I'm actually going to take him, and then I'm going to change him. I can copy him and paste him, and I could change his colors if I wanted to. Maybe I want purple fish. Okay. I can make a purple fish. Maybe then I want to, let's see, how am I going to copy him? Well, I can change him around. I can, let's see, right click and I can go duplicate. Okay, so now he's fish A2. Maybe fish A, let's go back with being white. So I can change colors, or maybe make him green. There we go. So he's going to be a green fish. Okay. Now, in order to change costume, I'm going to have the program switch back and forth between these two costumes on him. Now I'm going to do that with some code. So what I'm also going to do is when clicked, we're going to bring out another event. When green flag clicked. And we're going to do this forever because we want it to go our entire program. And then we're going to go to looks. And we're going to switch costume to fish A. And then, since we don't want it to flash so fast that we can't see it, we're going to put a little bit of a time in there. We're going to say, wait 1 second. Then we're going to switch costume to fish A2. And then if we do that, there's still going to be this flashing back and forth. So we're going to wait again 1 second. Now, our sprite is finished. If you notice, he's flashing back and forth. He's changing his costume. You click play. He's swimming around. He's changing his costume. Everything's hunky-dory. So you need, stop that guy. He's going way too fast. You need to have your stage, 5 sprites, 2 costumes for 2 of your sprites. The sprites move at different speeds. That's how many steps that they take. The sprites move at different angles. You can set your angles down here. And we have the bubbles effect in the background. That should get you your first program. When you are done with your program, you're going to need to share your program. And you can then share your program to our studio. Okay, so I'm going to share the program, add to studio. And I'm going to add it to our, I have a lot of studios in here, but I'm going to add it to the studio that we are currently working in, the aquarium. You will only see one studio when you go to do that. When you've done that, then I can actually grade it and you're ready to go.